All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have talked about page 58. Did anybody wish to ask about it again or in a more in-depth sort of way, for lack of a better word? No? We're good with 58? All right. Well, the puzzle sheets are as follows. He is a terrific butter-in-law. Second favorite one of all of them. Remember, whenever I give you a puzzle sheet, if the words don't come out as English words, you did the math wrong. So, he is a terrific butter-in-law. Any questions? Excellent. Puzzle sheet 2. Easiest to do this. That is gone. That is gone. That is gone. Those are gone. That's gone. That's gone. That's gone. That's gone. That's gone. And the answer is a park in space. A parking space, a park in space. I know. This one's not very good. I don't really like this one. Did anybody wish to ask about any of them? Spectacular. And the third one. Europe. Your turn to bat because you're up. Europe. Baseball. You're up. And an underground garage is a wall-to-wall car pit. Ha ha ha! Because an underground garage is a pit in the ground and it's filled with cars. A wall-to-wall car pit as opposed to a wall-to-wall car pet. But what are you going to do? I don't write the jokes.
I think one day you should write the jokes.
All right. Is everybody good? Remember. Don't remember a big yawn. Remember that you, even if you're given a shape that doesn't have a 90-degree angle in it, you have the ability to work this stuff out, right? Do you see any 90s in that triangle? No, of course not. If I tell you that's 32, do you see any 90s in that triangle? No, you still can't do trig. If I tell you this is 29 degrees, you still can't do trig, can you? But if I do this, you can now do some trig, can't you? Because what does that give me right there? A 90, which means I have a hypotenuse, so I can use that angle on that hypotenuse to find the adjacent. I can use that to find the opposite. I know this angle right here automatically, right? Once I know, let's say if I told you this side was, 41. Could you then do trig? Yes. You are allowed to add to drawings to make it so you can work with them. But you have to make sensible decisions, right? If I had that triangle again, that was 29. That was whatever it was, 18, I can't remember. You draw that. You use trig and you find a number here, which would be adjacent, yes? Is this that same distance? Yes or no? No, it's not. What if I told you this was 18? Now are they the same distance? Yes. Everybody with me? All right. The quiz, the kaboobly hinds, or whatever I called it. Oh, I didn't write it up on the board today. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 multiple choice and 2 open-endeds. I will give you 15 minutes. 15! No. 15. 15. There you go. Next time you try to negotiate longer, I'll drop my limit. Okay. Everybody good? Excellent. Put your name on it. Close your books. If you need your formula sheet out so you can't remember SOHCAHTOA, you could have it out. But if you can't remember SOHCAHTOA, you're in a bit of trouble. Especially since it's written on the front of the page. The quiz is called the SOHCAHTOA quiz. And it's got a fun font. King Things Balloons. Wait till you see it. You'll know why it's called that. Or you could see it right now. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. There it is. See? Because all the letters look like balloons. And there's clouds. Your time starts now. Yeah, alrighty then. The first one shouldn't be any trouble. Solve this right triangle. So, angle F has to be 67. Yeah. And theta, most of you probably use 23. Adjacent equaled little f. Hypotenuse equaled little g. And you had an opposite of 8. Yeah? So, I needed O and A and O and H to solve this, yes? So, tan of 23 equaled 8 over little f, which was 8 divided by tan 23. And cos of 23. No, I'm sorry. I apologize. Sine of 23 equaled 8 over lil g. So lil g equaled 8 divided by sine 23. Or you could have done Pythagoras, of course, once you knew the other one. And that gets you an answer of D. The first one was D, Priya. Number 2. There's the triangle. 25 from the base of the pole. The angle is 50.1. How tall is the totem pole? That's an opposite. So tan 50.1 equaled O over 25. So O equaled 25 times tan 50.1, which was 30 C. Determine the perimeter of this rhombus. Well, what do these ticks mean? They're all the same, so if you know one of them, you're going to multiply by what to get the perimeter? 4. How am I going to find that one? Well, I know that was 3.7, and there's a theta. Opposite, and what's that? Hypotenuse. So sine of 64 equaled 3.7 over the hypotenuse. So 3.7 divided by sine 64 gets me one of them, and I had to multiply by 4 to get A. Was it A? I don't know. I don't have my calculator out. And RS, that's right there, correct? So if I was doing RS, I need some info for this blue triangle, right? Do I have the info for the blue triangle? No, but can I get the info for the blue triangle? Yes, because that red line is sine 39 equals 8.9 over the hypotenuse, yes? So 8.9 divided by sine 39 equals the red hypotenuse, right? But isn't that also the blue hypotenuse? Yes. So in this one, I needed RS, which is adjacent to theta, correct? So cos 54 equals adjacent A over whatever this number is. Now, I don't know this number in my head. I would have to get out my calculator, but it is 8.9 divided by 39 sine 14.14. And then, of course, since that number is in the bottom, it is 14.14 times the cosine of 54 to get 8.3. Solid. QR. It's the exact same question, isn't it? Excuse me. I use tan 83, which equals little q over 15. So 15 tan 83 equals little q, which is right here, yes? And then tan 44 equals opposite, what I want, lil t, over lil q, which is 15 tan 83. That's on the bottom. So 15 tan 83 times tan 44 will get me lil t, which is what I wanted. And that answer was 15 times 83 tan times 44 tan, because I have a backwards calculator, is 118. All of those were worth 1 mark. Now, I can only assume people had trouble here. Excellent. An octagon has side length of 15, yes? Which means how long is that red line? 15, agreed? All right. Now, I want to know how long this green line is, correct? I know it's gone blue, relax. I want to know how long that green line is, right? But I can't find that out unless I have a 90-degree triangle, right? Okay, so I have this triangle. 15, correct? Any 90s in it? No. Now are there 90s in it? Yes. How long does that make this part? 7.5. Everybody agree? What's that make this angle? 90. Yes? Now, this octagon is split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slices, yes? Which means how much is that angle? It's 1/8 of a circle, right? Which is 45, correct? Then what did I do right here? Cut it in half. So what is this angle? 22.5. Do I have a theta? What is it? 22.5. Do I have an opposite? What is it? 7.5. Do I need an hypotenuse? Yes. Hypotenuse is x. Sine of 22.5 equals 7.5 over x. X equals 7.5 over sine 22.5. But I don't need one hypotenuse. What do I need? Two hypotenuses. So really I need to multiply that by 2, which would get me 15 over sine 22.5, which gets me an answer of 39.2. Now this question is going to be out of 2 marks. The scale is half, 1, 1.5, 2. Okay? Half a mark, you recognize there's a triangle there. Half a mark. 1 mark, you cut that triangle in half. Okay? 1.5 marks, you screwed up this 22.5, but you did some sign work. 2 marks, you figured out the 22.5, and you got to 39.2. You decide what you get. You guys get it?
Yep.
Nice. And now, the length of the body diagonal. So I've been given it. It's 61. Agreed? Okay. I want the height and the length. So the height is that, yes? And the length is that, yes? Everyone agrees? Okay. The only angle I have is 23, right? So I have this blue triangle that is 61, 23, correct? Now, that side is right there, isn't it? Isn't that the green side that I need? Okay, so this is my height in green, yes? Now I'm using h for height. Don't let that confuse us with h for hypotenuse, yes? What uses so I have a theta of 23, an opposite of h, and a hypotenuse of 61. What do I need? Sine 23 equals h over 61. 61 sine 23 will get me my height. Everybody cool? If you didn't get it, you get it now, yes? And that answer is 23.8. Nearest centimeter, so yes, 24 equals h. So this is 24, correct? Does everyone agree? All right. So, now I need this pink one, don't I? How will I find it? Did anybody find it? Or is this where everybody's trig goes? You have an answer here? For the pink, for the width. Or the length. Let's find out, shall we? Well, let's talk about it. Does this 29 help us in any way? Of course it does. Right? How? Sure it can. This pink triangle here, what Levi is saying, isn't this pink triangle here, that's the wrong pink, let me get the right pink, 29, isn't that a 90 degree? Even though it's not drawn, it has to be 90, doesn't it? Okay. And isn't this, which would be the hypotenuse of this triangle, isn't this that? Isn't it? Isn't it? So if I know this side, do I know this? And then I can I do Pythagoras? So how do I find this side? Well, I know that's 24, and I know that's 61. Do I know that? With Pythagoras, I do. Not currently, but I can know it, can't I? Okay. So this side is the square root of 61 squared minus... Now, we rounded it to 24, but if you rounded it to 24, we knew it was 23.8 something, right? Let's just round it to 24 squared. Then I square root. Then I have the answer there, yes? So that's the square root of 61 squared minus 24 squared. Then how will I use that here? Whatever that number is, that hypotenuse squared minus 29 squared and square root is that. Everybody cool? Now the answer is... excuse me. Square. Squared plus minus. This is 56.2 squared minus 29 squared. 48.1. That question's out of 4. You decide what you need to get. How far along did you get? 48.1. Well, did you find 24? Well, then you're halfway there. That's 2. Because it's out of 4. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you got the 24, give yourself 2 out of 4. You got the height, that's worth 2. So you feel by only getting half the right answer, you should get 3.5 divided by 4. You should get 88%. You should get an A on this question. That sounds better. Did you answer the question at an A level, a B level, a C plus level, or a C minus level? Then you give yourself 1 out of 4. If you left it blank, you give yourself 0 out of 4. The whole test is out of 11. Up to the front so as I can record them.
Do you have to record this?
I do, because I want you guys to have a record of where you need to study before you go towards your tests and finals. It's a multiple choice question. Of course you have to get one. All right. Page 62. Huh? Page 62. Now, the reason page 62 comes after that first quiz is because usually that first quiz makes everybody say, oh crap, trig is a little more complicated than I thought it was. So we take a step back and we review here. Solve a triangle. If you're going to solve a crime, what do? You check the evidence, you find out who did it, and you explain how it was done, yes? Excellent. Same thing here. Solving a triangle means you tell me everything about the triangle. So, to solve a triangle, you must tell me everything about it, which means you must tell me 3 angles and 3 sides. In this triangle, what do I have right now? I have 2 angles and 1 side, yes? Manru, yes, you also could have done trig on that whole test, but everybody was still, Okay, Manru. So, in this triangle, because we have now done like 20,000 trig questions, and we followed the same method every time, and it always works, should we follow that same method here? Of course we should. The first thing we should do is decide if we have a theta. Do we? What is it? 65. Once we have set up our theta, that's where we are standing to watch this triangle. It is our point of view. Once I have that point of view established, that sets up what? Opposites and adjacents. Does that point of view ever change the hypotenuse? No. So if I am set up here, what is my opposite? 41. What is my adjacent? My adjacent is what? Well, I would use little c because I've got big C. And what is my hypotenuse? No. Lil b. Now, Mr. Myers, why would you label the triangle that way and put b on the hypotenuse? Then I can't do a squared, b squared, c squared. Yes, you can. Because a squared, b squared, c squared is simply leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. It doesn't blanking matter what the letters are. Okay? And little b. Now, since I have a theta and an opposite, I have 2 choices of trig ratios I may use. What is available to me since I have an opposite and a theta? Tan is available to me and sine is available to me. Who makes the decision? You do. I am going to use sine because that is the newer one to us and we've had less practice with that. So I, when the computer ever turns back on, am going to do sine theta equals O over H. And then it is quite impossible to do these questions wrongly. It really is difficult because all your information is here. Sine theta, theta equals 65. Oh, sine 65 equals O equals 41 over, it'll come back, over H. H equals little b. And of course, you work to solve that now. Oh, pause. I said pause. That was kind of the gag, Annie. I know. Nobody got it. Don't worry.
It's been 38 seconds.
All right. Screw this poop. This is such a piece of garbage.
That was a little long.
So, of course, B equals now, once I know the hypotenuse, I could go to Pythagoras, couldn't I? I don't like going to Pythagoras because this is a trig unit. So I like to use trig as much as I can. But who makes the decision? You do. So I am going to stick with trig because the tan of 65 equals O over A, which equals 41 over little c. So little c equals 41 over tan 65, which is, and I go back to my calculator, 41 divided by tan 65. And of course, I get 19.12. Have I solved the triangle? What's missing? The third angle. How do I find it? I do 90 minus 65 because you don't need to care about the first 90 because it's a right angle. So big C equals 90 minus 65, which equals 25. Okay? Now, since I have glanced at your quizzes, and I have seen not a lot of 10s and 11s out of 11, it should be possibly coming to your realization that you could do a little more trig practice. There is a page of trig practice. Do it.